Hello everyone, welcome to the 4LadsHadADream podcast. My name is Stevie Clifford. I'm your host for a very special edition of the podcast. Joining us as usual is Chief Sports Writer at the Herald and Glasgow Times, Mr. Chris Jack. Chris, how are you?
Not too bad, Stevie. Nice to be back on again. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, definitely. Joining us also is a good friend of mine, Mr. Billy Young. Billy, how are you?
How are you doing, Stevie? I'm great, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. Looking forward to this. So, without wasting any more time, our special guest today is none other than Mr. Andy Halliday. Andy, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me on as well.
No, thank you for joining us. As we were obviously talking off air, and for everyone listening, Andy's done a few interviews and a few podcasts since he, obviously it was announced that his contract wouldn't be renewed at Rangers. We were keen obviously to speak to Andy. Andy is a favourite of everybody's at his time at the club. He's obviously one of our own, so we were keen to speak to him. But we're going to do something different, and we've spoken to Andy and asked Andy to pick his favourite Rangers 11 of his teammates, which I'm sure is going to be a good one. Billy's got some stuff to ask Andy, and we're also going to ask him about his favourite games. So let's just get straight into it, I think, Andy, and ask you to pick probably your first of a couple of your favourite Rangers games.
I think it's there's difficult questions that I get when it comes to Rangers, but I think in terms of my easiest games at the clubs, my favourite games of the clubs is more one of the easiest questions, because I think it'll be very, very difficult to beat my Rangers debut for my favourite game. I think it was just in terms of, like I've always said, it's what I've always wanted to do, is play for Rangers. It was the first chance I got to wear the shirt as a first team football player. So I think that one will always be very difficult to beat. The magnitude of the game at the time has been probably our closest rivals to obviously the Petrified, which the game was in the League Championship. So it was a good first game to go into at Easter Road, and just knowing that my friends and family were going to be in the crowd that day as well, and be as proud as myself to play for Rangers for the first time.
And of course, that day in Easter Road, we went one behind early on. Talk us through your feelings on that day. We were good that day. That was probably the first kind of insight and look into the whole Warburton era of how he was going to try and do things. Can you talk us through your memories of the game? And obviously, fantastic goal. Couldn't have put that one any better in off the bar. Talk us through that game for us.
Well, I mean, early summer that year was obviously it's quite a big turnover in terms of squad and personnel within the club, not only just the staff but the players as well. So we had only really been working together as a group for, in terms of the full group, maybe a maximum of 2 to 3 weeks. In that period of time, I can only remember a couple of friendlies that we actually had, the last one being Burnley at Ibrox. And it was it was something that I've talked about, albeit we were in the Championship. I do think that squad gelled really well together really quickly, and I think that was all part of the style of play that the gaffer tried to implement early on, and I think that because we had such a young, enthusiastic group, I thought we took to that really well, and I thought it was the best first game possible to showcase what we were trying to do. Hibs had more than a few good results against Rangers the year previous, so we knew they were a good team. But as far as we were concerned, it was a perfect first game, and you always get good games at Easter Road and a good atmosphere, because there's sometimes a bit of a disdain between the clubs. But it was a fantastic first game to go into, and on the day, I remember we never really started great. I think it was the boy Stanton at Hibs scored for maybe 20-25 yards in the first 25 minutes, and it wasn't really till we went 1-0 down where we started to take control of the game and managed to hit them with 2 sucker punches just before half time. I think it was Tav got the equaliser for a free kick, and then Waggy scored not long after, going into half time. But going into half time, we knew that they were probably going to come out with the action, and at the same time, we had to improve to our performance in the first half. And then the second half was total domination. I remember I gave away a penalty myself, so it wasn't a great start in terms of my Rangers debut at that point, but made up for it 5 minutes later by obviously scoring a goal in my debut. So it was a sort of dream come true.
Definitely a special moment. It was a fantastic strike. Rangers then, Nicky Clark, wasn't it? They got the kind of 5th and 6th, and that was us off and running.
It was Kenny Miller. Kenny Miller got the 5th and 6th, but Nicky Clark came off the bench. I think Nicky set up I think it was the 5th or the 6th Nicky set up. But that was one thing. We had a small squad that first year under Warburton, but everybody made a contribution at that period in time. I think you remember throughout that season we had a lot of young players on the bench. There was a couple of occasions where we were allowed 7 subs but only named 5. So we had a really sort of small, tight-knit squad. But everyone made a contribution that year, and Nicky was certainly one of them on that day as well.
We were talking just before you come on, Andy, and we're debating which one of the Old Firm games was going to be in your top 3. Is it safe to assume the semi-final win is one of them?
Yeah, 100%. I think that would probably be second. My first taste of an Old Firm game again, and I remember the build-up to the game. There was definitely some nerves there, and there was a lot of sort of anxious feelings, and I just remember for the sort of week to 2 weeks previous, because if you're being completely honest, as a professional, you do take it a game at a time, and if you've got a league game, the week before Celtic, obviously that is your focus, but nobody can tell me they've not got one eye on the Old Firm game in 2 or 3 weeks' time, because it's such a massive fixture, such a massive occasion, and as a football player, these are the games you want to have in your CV, these are the games you want to play in, and the fact it was my first one, I certainly had one eye on the Old Firm game in a couple of weeks' time. And I just remember telling my friends and my family, because that's all they wanted to speak about, that I just didn't want to speak about the game. Got building up into the first game. I didn't want to sort of burn too much nervous energy by talking about it and losing any type of focus myself, because I knew if I just kept all my thoughts and chats with other people within myself, that when the game came, that it would just take care of itself and my full focus would be on that. So, but don't get me wrong, the build-up is extremely different to any other game. But leading into it, like I said, there was nerves there. But when the first whistle went, it's arguably one of the most calmest I've felt within a football game. It just, it felt natural at the time. I felt really excited to play in it, and I think under Warburton we had numerous good performances, especially in terms of the style of play that we try to implement. But the first half in that Old Firm game, I think we definitely caught Celtic by surprise.
Going into the game, Andy, where did the belief come from that you could actually go and not just play like that, but then get the result that you did? Because heading into it, everybody has to do predictions and everybody says how it's going to go. I was one of the few press guys that said Rangers were actually going to get a result. To then actually go and do it and to actually pull it off, did that come from the manager? Did it come from just you within? Did it come from guys like Lee and Kenny that were obviously been there and done it? Now, how did the squad kind of get that belief that Celtic are Celtic, but we can go and beat them here?
I think it was all of the above, really. At that period in time, although Celtic were pretty comfortable in the SPL, they were coming under quite a lot of criticism while Ronnie Dyler was in charge, whether it was their performances within games, the way they were winning games. They were coming under a bit of criticism. At the time, we just felt that if we played at our best, we were a match for them. And, like you said, people like Kenny Miller and Lee Wallace, people that had experience in these fixtures, certainly helped, because going into that day, I don't know the exact number, but I think it must have been at least 5 or 6 players that had never played in an Old Firm match before. So you never know how these players are going to react and how they're going to take to it the first time without, very little experience of the Old Firm occasion. But like I said, it was a very, very young, enthusiastic group we had at that time. And the way the manager's style of play was, it gave you that confidence going into games, because you knew that if you were receiving the ball, that you know that 10 other guys are going to give you an option to get on it. And some of your early memories at Old Firm games, they were 100 mile an hour. It was tense, there's tackles, there's 50-50s. But on the day, we got a foot in the ball, and like I said, I think we really caught Celtic by surprise with our performance in the first half. And albeit the game did go to penalties in the end, I don't think there was any doubt who it deserved when I was on the day.
As you also won it in the most kind of dramatic of fashion. After everything that the club had been through, it really felt like a really kind of momentous day and a momentous afternoon for not just for that team, but for the fans and that as well. When you, after you ran towards the boys to celebrate, you turned around, you see the Rangers fans behind you. That must have meant a lot to you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it showed at the period in time that it was the progress that the club needed. They'd maybe stalled a bit the year before by obviously not getting promoted to the Championship, and it'd been X amount of years until they beat their rivals. So I think it did show it showed a sign of progress, which the club was dying for at the time. And you seen how much it meant to the fans, because it gave them that chance to have bragging rights over their fierce rivals for that game. But one of my biggest memories of the game as well is if I'm younger and I'm thinking one day if I win an Old Firm game, how much I'm going to celebrate that night. But 3 days later, we had to go to Easter Road to try and put a bigger gap between us and Hibs for the league. So it was a case of we beat Celtic in the semi-final, but we were in training the next day, and that was it. It was just on again to the next game, which is extremely different to any other club I played with, because if you got a result of that magnitude, you can make sure there'll be a few beers that night.
Just on that particular performance in that first half, without sounding kind of silly or overplaying it, I thought we played some of the best football I've seen in an Old Firm game, in a kind of game like that. Some of the passing, especially about the defence, which there's a section that kind of gets played on Twitter quite a lot that you were involved in as well. It goes kind of Kiernan, Halliday, Wallace, and kind of roundabout, and we just knocked it about one touch. You must take some pride looking back on that, the way that we played that day. Yeah,
and to be fair, I've thought that myself, and I've referred that to that game. Don't get me wrong, there's been plenty better Rangers teams than that one, but I don't remember seeing many Old Firm games where a Rangers team sort of controlled it that well for a period of time, especially being the underdogs going into the game. But like I said, there's been better Rangers teams than us, but on the day, I felt as if that was one of our best performances under Warburton, and like I said, such was the style of play that we played under him, where he demanded us to control possession and control the football. I think we showcased that very, very well that day, and especially in the first half. And I was so proud of the boys going after the game as well, because like I said, it was a lot of young players playing in the game. They'd never really experienced not only an Old Firm game, but maybe the Old Firm atmosphere. And they took it like a duck to water, so I was extremely proud of them.
Yeah, great game, great day. Andy, just make you feel a wee bit better. I done plenty of drinking that night for you, mate, just to celebrate. So I actually
as well, so that made me feel better.
I actually took my wife's dad, who is now, sadly, he's not very well, not got long left, but he used to go on at that as being one of his favourite memories. Barry Mackay being a barhead boy where he grew up and things like that gave him immense pride. So that was certainly a brilliant day. And that takes us nicely, Andy, before we discuss your 11, on to your favourite Rangers moment and your favourite Rangers game.
I think then another game that springs to mind would be it was a real toss-up between two to go into my top three favourites, and I think it was a toss-up between the Ufa game and the Rangers Celtic game at Ibrox in December, and I think that one probably just pips it. I think on a personal level as well, obviously being a part of a team that took a couple of downs against Celtic the year before, took a lot of criticism myself. I think it was a sort of redemption season for me under Gerrard, where he gave me a second up, that what felt like a second chance to come back and play for Rangers, and I was probably under a lot of pressure going into that game as an individual, and it was the first Old Firm win in the league for an extremely long period of time again, and there was games a year before where there was sort of 8, 9, 10 poor performances on the day, but I think that day there was 11 jerseys that more than matched and gave it their all and gave it their best performance. And on a personal level, that game meant a lot to me, and the fact that I got man of the match and heard, it was 50,000 singing my name after it as well was obviously extremely special, and I think that's probably going to put the Ufa one to get into the top three as well.
And in that game, you made a 40-60 an Andy Halliday ball after 3 or 4 minutes, and that kind of set the tempo, didn't it? Did you have that in mind? Because I remember Kevin Thompson famously talks about Walter Smith would tell him to go out and munch somebody. That's what he used to say, and get the tackles in straight away. Was that ever in your mind to, let's set the game plan out here, yous aren't going to bully us today, we're up for it? Because that tackle, and you'll know yourself, the stands of Ibrox and our fans, that galvanised everybody and it pushed us, and we went from there. What do you think about that kind of viewpoint?
No, I completely agree. I think especially in a high pressure game, I think that it's always important to try and set the tone and lay down a marker. And I think if any player gets an opportunity to do that with it early on in the game, they're going to take it. And I think that was sort of my perfect moment within it, where I could go in hard but fair, and try and lay a marker down for the game. Because like you said, it's the crowd's reaction, and there's one thing that I know that as Scottish fans appreciate is a good 50-50, especially early on in a derby game. So I think it gets it gets the fans up, it gets them on your side early on in the game, and like I said, it wasn't even just the tackle, and it wasn't just that trying to lay down an early marker. I think again, similar to the semi-final game, we showed an intent early that we weren't going to give Celtic any time on the ball, because Celtic were a good team in possession. They like to have a lot of the ball and keep the ball and whatnot, but I think we showed an intent extremely early that we weren't going to give them time to do so, and doing that never really allowed them to get into a rhythm, and on the flip side allowed us to control the game really early, and it was 1-0 on the day, but it was it was a deserving victory. And I think Celtic had one shot on target through the 90 minutes, which was it's extremely different outlook to the games of the previous year, and again managed for myself as well, managed to get in that block with 10 minutes to go, and then Cham was special, because it probably denied a goal as well, which would have been undeserving at the time.
Yeah, definitely a case of putting your body on the line. Just going back to that, Andy, this may sound kind of silly, but see when you make a challenge like that and the crowd are really up for it, and it's maybe not the equivalent to a goal, but it is a massive key moment. Seeing inside of yourself, you're obviously concentrating on everything else, but there must be the wee Rangers fan side of you that comes out and you're kind of thinking, get it right, obvious.
It's like I said, it just feels extremely important to lay the marker down early, and not only that, if I mistime that challenge, I'm on a booking after 4 minutes. And if you're playing any game, never mind an old firm game, you don't want to be walking a tightrope with 86 minutes left on the clock. So I think that tackle was important, and I think it allowed us to get into our rhythm, our stride early, and like I said, get the fans on our side. And looking at the game, like I said, it finished 1-0, but it could have been anything on the day. I remember Alfredo had a good couple of chances. I think Scott Arfield had a great chance as well at the start of the second half. Daniel Candeias had one saved. We had 4 or 5 consecutive set pieces that all led to chances in the first half. So it was I think it was a game we dominated, definitely.
That takes us nicely, and we'll get Billy and Chris involved at this point as we kind of talk about your Rangers 11.
I've been thinking of this one all day.
I know, we're looking forward to this. I was thinking this morning about what you would go with and whether you're going to put yourself in your team and who might play with you and stuff. So I'll talk about
I'm in my head thinking I don't feel like I've missed people, but we'll soon see. You might remind me of somebody once I tell you mine.
Well, this is terrible. I got asked to do my Rangers 11 for a competition thing a year ago, and I picked my 11. Alberts, Laudrup, everyone entered it in, and the wife came over and says, "Oh, I'm surprised you never put Gascoigne in." And I was like, "Oh my God, how have I forgot him?" But my midfield was Alberts, Barry Ferguson, and I just Laudrup was the other side, and I went with 3, and I just forgot. That's terrible. That's even worse. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to do with this. So I'm going to kind of talk about the goalie. We'll get Billy in to talk about the kind of defence and midfield, and Chris can kind of cover strikers and things like that. So starting off, your Rangers goalie, your Rangers number 1, you've got kind of Wes Foderingham, Alan McGregor. Who would you choose?
I think Wes was a brilliant servant for the football club for the first 2-3 years. I think he was one of the most consistent performers and somebody that done really well for us. But saying that, I think Alan McGregor will probably go down as the top 3 in my opinion goalies in the history. So he's got to be my number 1 in my team. even since he's came back under Steven Gerrard, 30, 37, 38, whatever he is, I can't remember him making a mistake for a goal. And you see every single day in training the saves he pulls off. How vocal he is for his defenders as well, which is extremely important. And not only that, he's probably the guy that I've seen make the best save in the history of football that I can remember. His save against Werder Bremen. I can't remember seeing a better save than that. And like I said, since I've played with him, he's been second to none. Arguably been our best player under Steven Gerrard over the last couple of years.
He is an extremely good goalkeeper, absolutely. But I was thinking about this, and I'd preempted him being your number one, and I wanted to ask. I don't want to say he's crazy. He's a normal goalie, but I remember that.
You're all right. He's crazy.
Well, I didn't want to say it, but yeah, it's right. Okay, but remember the Hibs game where he got sent off, and Ross had to go in goals.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys because I remember in the crowd we were all outraged and thinking he'd done absolutely nothing, and I sit up the other side, so I'm kind of in GF kind of 6 or 7, so I didn't see anything, and we're all booing and giving the referee. I kind of imagine Alan going into the dressing room, didn't touch him. This is an outrage. All the boys behind him, and then the footage comes on, and it's kind of like, what's going on here, Griggsy? So what's it like?
I was on the bench at the time for that game, and I was the exact same as probably the majority of the fans at the time, and thought, what just happened there? Because it looked as if there was absolutely nothing in it. And when Griggsy gets sent off, I went into the changing room and I said, basically, what happened? Why have you been sent off? And he looked me dead in the eye, outraged, saying, I can't believe it, never touched him, I can't believe I've been sent off in that. I've just kicked the ball and my follow through's just grazed him in the back. But that's just typical Griggsy. When I see the replay 5 minutes later and he's still trying to tell me it's not a red card. I don't know under which sport that's not a red card, but certainly in football terms it was a red card. But don't get me wrong, he's a bit crazy, but all goalies are. But to be fair, I forgot it was Ross McCrory could have made it as my number one on my team as well.
I can imagine Robbie's outrage if that had happened, right enough. Billy, we'll get Billy in to talk to you about your defenders and your midfield choices. But if you want to start us off, left back.
I think the fullbacks were pretty easy for me. Left back would be Lee Wallace, Mr. Consistent, one of the best captains I've worked under my career, one of the best leaders, somebody that leads by example not only on the field but off the field day in, day out, was again extremely consistent during my time at the football club. But not only that, just an unbelievable man, somebody that really, really cared about the football club, somebody that I was extremely disappointed when he left. And I've no doubt if circumstances were different, there's a good chance he'd probably still be the Rangers left back just now. But like I said, he's a man that I can't speak highly enough about, and he was superb during my time at the football club.
Andy, I wasn't sure about if it was a toss-up between Wallace or Barisic. Was it close, albeit Barisic has only played well maybe this season, but it's just his level's been frightening, and I don't know, I wasn't sure if you were going to pick Wallace, but would you say it was close or?
For me, it maybe wasn't as close because maybe the period of time that I played under Waldo, and like I said, his levels were extremely consistent over the 3 years that I did play with him. I think Borna was someone that it took a bit of time to adapt to Scottish football, and I certainly don't think that the lack of pre-season he had in the first season helped him. But like you said, he hit a lot more consistent levels last year. Someone that done really well for the team, had a lot of assists. One thing I will say about Borna is he's got a great left foot. His deliveries for dead ball situations and crosses for open play has been a big benefactor to the team this season. But I think Waldo for me was someone who was just an extremely consistent performer for the football club. Like I said, through the 3 years I was there, and not only that, but the character of a man he was. I know how much he helped everybody else in the dressing room.
Definitely, I think that was clear. Obviously, yourself, you then get shifted to left back. Was Wallace somebody that you would maybe ask about help how to play the role, or maybe a bit of general advice?
And like I sort of touched on, I think the No, when Waldo's career sort of looked as if it was coming to an end at Rangers, I was maybe somebody that benefited for that because it allowed me to play, I think it was 30 odd games in Gerrard's first season. But credit to Waldo and the type of man and character he is, and like I said, extremely good teammate. He was the first to, sort of not coach me, but give me advice and help me and tell me how much he thinks I can play that position because I have attributes to do so. And he was the first one to give me support. And also I know it was a difficult period of time for him when he lost the captain's armband to Tav. And I know how much he helped Tav, grow into that role as well. When I know that a lesser character would sort of be better about it, but I know the type of man Waldo is.
I don't think anybody would be surprised to hear that as well, to be fair. In terms of right back, I suppose it's going to be James Tavernier,
yeah, probably the easiest decision in the pitch because he's the only right back I've played with, but at the same time, I think Tav will go as probably the best right back I've played with in my career in general. And see, to be honest, people might disagree with me. I think if you take Alan Hutton out of the equation, I don't think we've had a better left back for a long time. And if I'm being honest, I think to have someone that comes under a lot of unfair criticism at time, because albeit there has been periods where his form's maybe not been, to his capabilities on the pitch, but he's someone that's always stood up and be counted for. Whether it was if he was having a poor time, he would never hide. He would always be there. He'd always, he'd stick his chest out and do his best for the team. But at the same time, his contributions throughout the 5 years that I've been there, goals, assists, clean sheets that he's been involved in. I think it's probably been the easiest position that I've had to pick.
He started off so well, and I think people just expected him to continue that into the sort of the SPL and the better teams he'll be playing against. Sometimes he comes under a bit of criticism for maybe his leadership capabilities and stuff. I think that's something personally I have levelled at him a few times, as well as a few people that I know. Do you think that's unfair? Would you say, seeing him day in, day out?
And I think that Tav set the bar that high. I think that's only a credit to himself because, it was his performance that allowed him to do that. And in terms of a leader, I think that one player wears the armband, but I think every single squad needs 5-6 leaders. So I think it was, there does come that extra responsibility wearing that armband. But within that, I do think that a lot of the, the pressure and the criticism Tav come under was extremely unfair. I know that he's a good captain. I know that the leadership qualities that he shows day in, day out. It's not just a game, and I think he's the right man that wears that armband because, like I said, he is someone that stands up and be counted for, and someone that you can count on.
That's somebody's behind the scenes saying that, then it's obviously a lot easier to listen to than maybe just people for the crowd who think maybe they know it all, like myself at times, I would imagine. But in terms of centre backs,
I done that for 15 years, so. I don't know.
It's easy done, eh? Centre back wise, again, even this season, there's a lot of debate about who the best centre back is, and you see it in Twitter especially. There's people throwing the 4 boys' names in there, who's the best and who's the worst pace wise and stuff. Would it be fair to say Goldson would probably be there?
Yeah, I think centre halves was difficult because I think in my Rangers career I've played with a large amount of centre halves. We've had quite a lot of chopping and changing in that position, but I think it's only really now where we do have players that are settled within that position that have been at the club a couple of years and made the position their own. And I think the first pick I would have would be Connor Goldson. Again, for a lot of reasons that I've spoken about in the others, he's been the most consistent over the 2 years under Steven Gerrard at that position. He's got a lot of good attributes as a centre half. One thing I'll say about Connor is he's deceivingly quick, which is something. Obviously, being very tall, he's got a big stride, so Connor's deceivingly quick. But I think in big games, especially in Europe, over a couple of years that Gerrard's been here, he's been a big reason that our European record has been what it is. There's a lot talked about the amount of clean sheets and the very little goals that we've conceded, and I think he's been a big part of that. And Connor obviously is the vice captain, and again deservedly so because he's someone that is, he does lead by example day to day.
I would say Goldson's the best at the 4, and I've been really impressed, especially as you say in Europe, but it's back to the Wolves' performances in Braga. It's ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? The other centre back, if I was
again, I think maybe, it's going to be. it's got to be someone that's been the most consistent performer when I was there. And I think I've got to go for Clint Hill for the other one, because I think Clint Hill was probably the surprising factor in that second season under Warburton, because I think Clint Hill will be the first to tell you that he was probably brought in as, you know, added competition at centre half, but more so to bring his experience to a group of young players and try and help them as much as he can. But I think within that, he was probably one of the best performers that season, someone that was extremely consistent. Again, if I'm going to the trenches with anyone, I would love Clint Hill to be behind me. I think, you know, when I look at the likes of Nico and George and Philip, they've maybe not had the run in the team that they feel like they deserve for me to, you know, change that opinion. I know that when, especially last season, there was a period in time where Philip Hollander was maybe growing in to be one of the more important members of the team, and unfortunately he got that injury against Celtic in the Cup final. Nico Katic, in my opinion, is someone that's extremely suited to Scottish football and been an absolute warrior in the 2 years he's been here. And I think people forget how young Nico is. I think he's someone that is going to be a big asset to the football club over the years to come. And again, George Edmondson's the same. So I think the second centre half was a bit more difficult, but I think I'm going to go with Clint Hill with his consistent performances that year.
Yeah, I would agree. That's who I think if you asked the other two boys, I'm pretty sure they would probably have picked possibly the same back four. I certainly would have as well. I just wasn't sure about the last one, Hill, but as I say, I think Edmondson and Katic, especially the shape Katic has come back in since the summer break, he's flying. Both of them have got a right good chance if they stay at the club to keep fit to become maybe the first two picks in a few seasons' time.
Aye, definitely. And like I said, I'd be if I had that back four behind me for a season, then I'd be loving it, because like I said, I know how good that some of these players are.
What about you, Stevie, midfield wise? What are you saying to this?
I'd be interested to find out if Andy picks his wee pal Jason Holt, because for the first kind of 6, 7, 8 months when they were together, I thought they were dynamite. And then obviously the dynamic of the defence and things changed under Warburton. So I'm looking forward to seeing who you're going to have in here, Andy.
I'd say the midfield was probably the most difficult area of the pitch that I was trying to pick. So the team that I've went for, I think there was that many attacking options that I considered. I've went for a sort of 4-2-3-1 with somebody in a couple of players in a bit of an unorthodox position, but I just felt as if I had to fit them in for their contributions to the team. But the two in midfield I've went with, unfortunately Jason Holt doesn't make it. Like I said, like you touched on, know somebody I had a great relationship with on and off the pitch. I think my sort of first 50, 60 games for the football club, I'd imagine that I played alongside Jason for a good 80-90% of them. Someone that probably gets hard done by his size with a lot of people, but again, so tenacious, so comfortable on the ball, full of energy. Had a lot of good performances for the football club, especially in his first 18 months there. But the two I've went for in midfield is number one, I've went for Stephen Davis. I think when he first came back for the football club, came under a bit of criticism for the first certainly 46 weeks. But a lot of that was just a case I hadn't played a lot of football for a large period of time. But day to day in training, you see how much quality he's got, and I think everybody could agree that even in his first spell at Rangers, we know how good he was, and I certainly seen that firsthand, especially in training when he first came back. So I knew that he was going to be a very, very, very good addition to the team in his second spell. And I think his performances this season, I think in the first sort of 6 to 8 months, I think there'd been a strong case for Stephen Davis to be one of the players of the year. So he's my first addition to midfield.
It's got to be Ryan Jack to partner you, Andy.
Aye, you've got it spot on. Next to him's Ryan Jack. I think, Jacko, when I first, when Pedro first came in, obviously I wasn't here. I was away on loan, and when I first came back, Jacko was injured, so it was only really a case of just sort of training with him towards the end of the season. But I think that the biggest sort of player improvement I would say since Steven Gerrard has came in has been Ryan Jack. I think he's he's developed into a completely different player. I think his game has progressed so well under the manager. You know, the most consistent performer since the Gaffers came in. So I think that he's someone that was definitely going to make my team. Again, touched on how consistent Stephen Davis was and how he'd be in the running for sort of player of the year for this season. But I think that Jacko's one of the front runners for me. He's someone that's you can count on every single week, never mind just a big game. But I think that is the sort of progression in his performances under the managers has been there for everyone to see.
The manager's spoken quite a lot about Jacko recently, Andy, talking about obviously how good he's been playing, but he speaks a lot about his mentality and attitude. Is that something that's summed up in both Jacko and Steve Davis? If you're going to be a Rangers midfielder, you have to have that wee bit something extra about you as a person. It's fine having the technical ability to handle the ball and do well in that area, but now you need to have something up top if you're going to thrive in that position at a club like Rangers.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not even, listen, I'm talking about games and consistency in games. It's not even just that. It's going into training every single day. You know there's going to be certain people that are going to perform well every single day, no matter what day of the week it is, no matter how many games they've played, what the weather's like, and like that. You know that you're going to get the best out of Ryan Jack and Stephen Davis every single day. And it's that consistency and that, how reliable they are. That's the reason the managers get so much trust in them. And like I say, it's no... I'm lost for the word I'm thinking of, but it's no surprise, shall I say, that the gaffer puts so much trust in them when big games come around.
The three you've got ahead of them in this 4-2-3-1 you're going for, who's the first one that gets in there?
So the one that's in a bit of an unorthodox position, because I couldn't leave out the number 9 that he's probably all predict, is I've got Kenny Miller just behind the striker. Kenny, when I joined the club, Kenny, again, similar to Alan McGregor, was 36, 37, but never missed a day's training. Again, like I touched on with Jacko and Davo, one of the best performers in training day in, day out, and similar to Waldo, someone that I know made everybody around him better, and was not only consistent within his cell, but someone that just tried to help the development of all the young players around about him. And I think under the... we struggled in that sort of, see the first season back in the SPL, and there was a lot of criticism for the team, but I think Kenny was a standout performer that year. And like I said, his overall contribution to everybody within the squad was second to none.
I just say, sorry Chris, just a wee point on Kenny Miller. Andy, I'm sure you'll agree, Kenny Miller was absolutely phenomenal for Rangers. That spell in particular, when we first came up as well, we're finding our feet, like you said, he was brilliant. But see, when you look back on when he came back under Walter and Rangers ended up winning like 1, 2, 3 titles and he came in, there was a spell before he went to Bursaspor for 6-7 months where I think Kenny Miller hit something like 21 goals in 17-18 games. He was absolutely phenomenal. And to keep going the way he went was incredible. I'm not surprised he's made it into your team. I think, in all honesty, I would struggle to leave Kenny Miller out of any team that I would pick in the last kind of 20 years. I think he's really underrated in terms of just how good a striker he was.
Yep, and I think a lot of that's down to how selfless he is as a football player. And listen, I've played with Chris Boyd firsthand. I know if you play with Boyd, you need to be selfless. So I think it's a lot of Kenny's good work does go unnoticed, whether it's on the pitch, how hard he works, or it's off the field and how much he helps others. So, like you just touched on there, just a completely selfless teammate, completely selfless player, but still chucked in with a lot of huge goals within his time at the football club. And, I don't know the exact amount of appearances he's made, but he's certainly been a great servant to us. And, I don't think there was any doubt I was going to leave him at my team.
Who are the guys you've got playing either side, Amanda?
So first of all, somebody that we still got at the football club, and in my opinion, I don't think there's many people out there that's probably bigger fans than him than me, and I don't think we've yet to see the best of him, and I'm hoping that over the next couple of seasons we'll continue to do so. So I've went for Ryan Kent as the first one on wide left. Kenty, in terms of individual attributes, Kenty's probably arguably the best player I've played with at Rangers. The stuff you see him do day in, day out is just someone that, in my opinion, could play at the very, very top level. He's just an exceptional talent, and I think that's the reason that the manager and his staff paid so much to get him here because they know what he can contribute to the club going forward. I say that I don't think we've seen the best of him because I know what his height is. I know how far he can go and I know how well he can do. And I think that one thing that he probably needs to add to, to take his game to that next level where I know it can go is probably goal contributions, because I think over the last couple of years there's been a lot relying on Alfredo to get his goals, and if Alfredo never played, there's been a lot relying on JD to get his goals. So I think that's maybe one area where Kenty does need to improve. But like I said, his ability is second to none, and he was always going to be in my team as well.
That's something that Ryan's mentioned in interviews before, that he talks quite a lot about his numbers and the status that he's getting. But when you look at his contribution as a whole over the course of a season, he's one of the guys in that squad. It's a big game player. Now you think Old Firm games, European games, the goals against Celtic, the goal against Braga. He's one of these guys that if it's a big game, you're going to get the best of Ryan Kent.
Yeah, and you can't have enough match winners in a football team, and I think he's probably Rangers' biggest match winner within the squad that we've got. I think Andy Halliday we've obviously tied down for the foreseeable future, which I think is a massive addition, because again I think he sort of took on that role as a match winner for his short stint that he came to the football club. But I think Ryan Kent over the last 2 years has been our biggest match winner, and like I said, I'm his biggest fan, so I know what his height is, and I've always been one that will probably criticise him more than any, but it's like I say, it literally is just because I know how good he can be. And I think he'd probably tell you more than anyone that me and him have got a really good relationship, because he knows how hard I can be on him, because I think so high of him.
Does Ryan know how good he can be? The manager certainly seems to does, and the manager's been really fulsome in his praise of him. Obviously, paid a lot of money to get him in last summer. Does Ryan know how good Ryan can actually be in this game?
I don't know. I'd certainly like to hope so, because £7-8 million, whatever we paid for him, doesn't get flung around a lot at Rangers, and so I think it's got to show him how much the club and the manager does think of him, the amount of faith that they've put on him to bring to the football club. So I'd like to think that certainly helps his belief within his own ability. But like I said, he's in my team, but I still think that he's got another level.
Who have you gone for on the other side?
Again, in terms of contributions that he had to the team, consistency, goals, I've went for Martin Waghorn. I know it's not his most natural position, but it was a toss-up between him and Daniel Candeias for that position. I think Daniel Candeias, listen, he's got a Portuguese passport, but he's got a Scottish work ethic. I think he was another one that was extremely consistent at Rangers. Maybe similar to Kenty, where probably would like to get more goals, but his contribution to the team again was superb. But I've went for Waggy. I can't remember, was it 33, 34 goals in the first season? The second season maybe not so much, maybe fell a wee bit out of favour with Pedro at the time, but he's obviously went on and continued his career at Derby and Ipswich at the time. You've seen how well he done, so I know how good Waggy can be, and I know how good he was, and certainly in my first 18 months at the football club. So it was a real toss-up between Waggy and Daniel, but Waggy just getting on for me.
Do you think Martin in some ways was like a victim of circumstance at Rangers, because he did come in and start really well, and you look at the level he's playing at now and the move that he got to Derby, he clearly got huge ability and I can play at a very high level, but just all the things that happened at Rangers during that time, much like yourself. Now, you obviously he got that second chance to come back, but when it became evident he wasn't going to be part of the plans, he had to move on, and Rangers fans probably didn't see the best of him.
Yeah, but it was unfortunate, because I mean, I think you can still see in the likes of social media and interviews to this day that the football club meant a lot to Waggy. He loved it here. He had a great rapport with the fans. Was really settled up in Scotland and loved playing for Rangers. So it was unfortunate that we lost him, because we knew how good he was. And the fee that we lost him for was probably the biggest issue, because he was a huge asset to the football club. But it doesn't take away from his performances and his time at the football club, which is the positive memories I'll look at. And he's the first season he was the player of the year at us. It was I think it was it was a good battle between him and Waldo at the time, but I think he edged it. And a great servant for us especially in the first 18 months. And yeah, I'd be happy to having him in any of my teams now.
is that right hand side of the forward line, is that one area where Rangers really to strengthen this summer? Obviously, they've got Ryan on the left hand side. The right hand side has been kind of chop and change, and Stephen's tried different people in there. Obviously, with Hadji coming in, perhaps more naturally suited to an inside role. Is that wide right perhaps one of the key areas that you'll be looking to go and try and bring somebody in?
Yeah, I mean, for the outside looking in now, I think it's going to be interesting. That sort of area in the pitch going into this season, because especially this season under the manager, I know him and Mick Beale have sort of they implemented more of a like sort of 2-10s, 3-10s, and sort of chopped and changed in that area. One week it was sort of Joe Aribo, then Scott Arfield, both contributed immensely to the team in that position. But it'll be interesting, obviously, with Giannis coming in, if they continue that sort of number 10 role, or go to a more off out and out winger. It'll be interesting, but I think that is one area of the pitch that Rangers look to strengthen. Like I touched on before, we've maybe been a bit too reliant on Alfredo to score his goals, and we'll certainly look to get more contributions for that area of the field. But Giannis was one when he came in, looked extremely promising, so I'm delighted that we've managed to tie him down for the future.
And just to round off your team here, Andy, I'm assuming Alfredo takes number 9 jersey?
Yeah, it's going to be extremely difficult to leave that madman out, because he'll probably battle me. So Alfredo certainly gets the nod. But again, easy decision. I talk about how consistent and how well that all these players that I've picked have done for the football club, but I don't think any of them have had the run of form that Alfredo's had over, especially the first 6 months of this season and sort of the last season as well. He's by no means the best finisher that I've played under, but he's still an out and out goal scorer. He's someone that I think you really underappreciate the role of a lone striker in Europe. Especially with the way we played, where we're sort of tight and compact, and we try and hit teams in the counter attack. That sort of lone striker role can be really lonely. It can be extremely difficult. But I was witnessing Alfredo just absolutely dismantle back lines on his own. I was literally witnessing bully two experienced centre halves who's coming up against the likes of Pepe and just ragdolling them about basically. And it's something that I think, again, I touched on Griggsy being the top 3 sort of goalies, especially in my generation. I think there's a real case for Alfredo if he continues his form and stays at the football club for an extended period of time, being one of the best strikers we've had again for a long time. And I was a big fan of Jelavic when I was growing up as a Rangers fan. I think his contributions to the team is certainly on that level, and like I said, his performances and consistency over the last couple of seasons has been outstanding.
How frustrating is Alfredo as a teammate? Because as you mentioned, the big moments, the big goals, you see how good he can be, and on his day, one of the best around in Europe. But then there's a wee spell where he doesn't go and score for a couple of weeks. He's doing daft things. He's getting sent off. He must be the type of guy that the rest of the guys in the dressing room must just tear your hair out at times, because you know how important he is, and how if you get him playing and get him firing, and what an asset he is. I just can't quite do it all the time, unfortunately.
It's a really fine line, I think, with Alfredo, because I think the manager and the players would be the first to tell you that nobody wants to take away that competitive edge and that fire he's got. I compare it to the likes of sort of Wayne Rooney at the early stages of his career, that had that he had that red mist, he had that fire. That nobody wants to take that away from him. But just being young the way he is, he just needs to start learning from his mistakes. He's made a couple of mistakes at the team. He's maybe let people down, but at the same time, he's dug. I know he's dug us players out plenty of times when we've not played well in a game, and he's managed to crop up and score winners and be the one that sort of took the load on his shoulders and carried us through. So we do give him the benefit of the doubt being young, but at the same time, obviously, we want him just to learn from his mistakes, because we care about him. I think the Rangers fans are the same. Everybody at the football club cares about him, and they want him to be successful for Rangers for a long period of time. So, but what I will say is about Alfredo is there's never any issue with him on a training pitch. When he trains 100%, which is all we can ask for as players. And like I said, I hope he continues to be a big benefit and a big asset to Rangers for the next few years.
Before Billy can ask you some of the stuff he wanted to ask you, and I just wanted to ask, you described Alan McGregor as crazy. How would you describe Alfredo Morelos?
Bonkers. I don't know if that's crazy, but he is bonkers. But
In a good way, though, like, obviously.
In a brilliant way, you know, on a day-to-day basis, he's obviously, he's just full of carry on, and he perks you up, he gets you a laugh. He's probably the only one that, you know, watching him, you know, wrestle Jimmy Bell every single day, you always get a good laugh at that. But he's someone that all the players love, and you know, we all care a lot about him. We want to try and help him on a day-to-day basis because we know how much it can be a benefit to the football club. But like I said, in terms of, you know, Alfredo, 99% of the time, he's absolutely no issue whatsoever. It's you know, just that 1% where, like we said, we don't want to curb his fire and his desire and his enthusiasm, but just hopefully he can learn from his mistakes and, you know, chuck out the red cards because we're sick of it.
And just a couple of wee things I'd like to ask me. See, in terms of that, obviously the high of the semi-final that day, it's probably my, at the time, greatest day supporting Rangers for what I can remember as like an adult anyway. But for the high of that, going to the final itself, obviously you score what I would consider probably your best goal for the club. It was a strike, and 2-1 up, you think you've maybe scored the winner in the cup final for one of the first trophies for a long time for us. Is that a kind of bittersweet memory then for you, for it to go for that to the downhill, obviously conceding the 2 late goals, and then obviously all the carnage after the game? Is that something that's just a bad memory now, or is there a slight happy moment in that?
Nah, I mean, I don't feel as if I can take any sort of positive memories away for that day. It was obvious. I think that going into that game, it would have probably rounded off, you know, the perfect first season at Rangers. You know, we managed to get the club back to the SPL where we belonged. You know, we won the Petrified, albeit not being the sort of cups we want to win, but we were there. We wanted to win it. We managed to win it. We managed to beat our fiercest rivals for the first time in the next amount of years. And then, you know, going into a real cup where we wanted to win a sort of a real Rangers medal and give the team Europe for the next year, it would have rounded off that perfect season. But unfortunately, it was just, you know, we knew Hibs were a good team. We knew under no circumstances that, you know, we were going to turn up and roll them over because we had played them 6 times that year, you know, and we knew how good a team they could be on their day. You know, I've said it previously. I take nothing away from it. I believe that Hibs deserved to win the game on the day. But I feel that our preparation was hampered by, obviously, you know, our season ended 4 weeks before the Scottish Cup final. I don't think there's any country in the world where that would happen. Hibs continued to play, you know, playoff games, and they played Falkirk, they played Morton, and you know, they kept that competitive edge, they kept fit, they kept fresh. Whereas on our hand, it was extremely difficult to get any friendlies going because everyone's season had finished or they were still continuing their season. So I do believe that hampered us on the day. And I think that was the reason that maybe we never performed to our best. But like I said, you know, the overall factor and the overall feeling of the game was just extreme disappointing that we never managed to win the cup.
Yeah, especially with the timing of the goal and that, even extra time. As you say, with the fitness levels in that extra time, the result maybe would have been the same, you just don't know. But that's an extremely disappointing day, I would imagine, for everybody. But to go for that then, and then to go out on loan, especially to where you went, Azerbaijan, how did that come about? Did you feel at that time there maybe not been a way back then?
I think at that period in time that you know, my relationship with Pedro went pretty sour. It was pretty clear that while he was at the football club, I wasn't going to be welcome. I wasn't going to be a part of it. So, but the club did. You know, the club made it clear that if I was going out on loan, you know, they would like my full wage covered, which it was no. I mean, I was more than happy to do that. If it was going to help the club, it was going to benefit the club, then no problem. And at that period in time, there was only 2 or 3 clubs that were willing to, you know, pay my full wage. You know, I think one was in Turkey, and I think I was very close to sort of going to that Turkish club. And then, you know, sort of late on in that sort of period, the team for Azerbaijan, Gabala, came in and. You know, for the outside looking in, of course, it was maybe a bit of a strange move, a strange decision. But for me, my reasons behind it, I certainly don't regret. I was going abroad. I was going to play a different style of football. But the big draw for me was they were in Europe. They were in Europa League. I'd never played European football as a player. It was something I would absolutely love to have on my CV. So that was, you know, a big benefactor. The reason why I went and chose that club. And like I said, I don't regret my decisions of why I went. Obviously, felt pretty early it wasn't going to work out and wasn't going to be what I thought it was going to be, but I certainly don't regret my decisions. But at the same time, if I'm also being completely honest, I always felt I would outlast Pedro at the football club. With all due respect to him, I felt as if he was the wrong appointment at the time. I still had 3 years left in my contract, so I was never going to leave the club on a transfer because, like I said, I always felt as if I was going to come back and get an opportunity under a different manager.
Yeah, that's obviously looked to be proven right now. Did Pedro ever say why maybe you weren't going to fit in? Did they ever give you a reason, or was it just a personality clash?
I mean, I think a lot of the reasons weren't football reasons. I think that we just, again, like you touched on, I think it was just a personality clash. I think, under Warburton wanted us to sort of be player policed. If we wanted to chap his door, we were welcome. In team meetings, he would allow us to speak and say our piece. And in terms of discipline within the football club, he wanted it all sort of player policed and player controlled. I think under Pedro, it was extremely different. And that's not really what the players at the time were sort of used to. So just straight away, it sort of went down south. It went south, especially with mine and his relationship. And it became pretty apparent, pretty clear that we weren't going to get along, and I wasn't going to be a part of his plans.
I think with most foreign managers, well, a lot of them anyway, you kind of get that as well, maybe culture clashes and whatever. But probably turned out for the best now. You're hearing he's not. So just in terms when Gerrard comes in then, obviously a massive name you've no doubt watched for years. Was a buzz around when he came in, and then when he's asked you to say unofficial captain a few times in the dressing room, what sort of things would that entail then? Is that something you spoke about as soon as he came in, or did it just come naturally with a few months in the door?
Yeah, in all fairness, I think throughout my career, even when I was young, I've always seen myself as somebody who can lead by example and take on a mantle to try and help other people and just be a good teammate. And that's something I've always done at Rangers, even before Steven Gerrard came in. I think it was just sort of, he came in, realised the sort of benefit I could be to the squad, and if I was called upon, he was someone he could trust. And I've said it on numerous occasions, Steven Gerrard's been superb to me. He was someone that gave me that sort of redemption at Rangers, and to be honest, I think it wasn't really under him that I won over maybe a minority or a majority or whatever people look at Rangers fans that maybe felt I didn't belong to be there anymore. So I think he sort of gave me that chance to win them over. And I think I've always thought that my best sort of run of form at Rangers was sort of the first 6 months back in the SPL under Warburton, but I certainly think my most consistent period has been under Steven Gerrard, and a lot of that I give thanks to him, because like I said, he's been superb with me since he came in the door.
You could tell straight away, as you say, with Jacko as well, he's improved people, and yourself as well. Like everybody, when I say surprised, but just didn't see a starting place all the time in the team for you. A lot of people, which some people disagreed with, like myself. But would you say that being a midfielder like him, is that something that he would be in training every day, telling you certain things that maybe other people like Mark Warburton couldn't? Would that be fair to say?
I think that's what good managers do. Good managers get the best out of their players, and I think that's something that he's done with the majority of the squad, and it's certainly the case for myself. And I'd played. I think I've only played a sort of handful of games in midfield under the gaffer. I think the last one that I can remember was being Villarreal away, and since then he put in a lot of faith in me to play left back whenever. If Borna wasn't available, or maybe Borna wasn't in his best form. So he did put a lot of faith in me to play that position for the football club, and I'd like to think I earned his trust and sort of repaid his faith within that when I played there.
Yeah. See, maybe lastly, the last 2 winter breaks, we've sort of fell away after that, and a lot of fans are questioning why maybe this would be. Do you think it may be a mentality thing, try to keep up the pack, maybe not having the sort of winners on the side just now that can maybe go toe-to-toe and win games when we'll maybe drawing at the death, maybe in March, April time, try to go for the title? Do you think, what would maybe your opinions be on why we couldn't keep pace?
It's a question that I'd probably love to give an answer for, but I just don't have one, because I've seen a team for the first 6 months of the season that every single day was training well, was competitive. When games came, we were playing really well, we were in a good place, good form. And then after the break, I still seen the same desire and the same sort of quality in training on a day-to-day basis. But every game that we went into, we just never showed the same form. And like I said, under no circumstance could I pinpoint one thing towards that. People might say it's a sort of mentality. People might say it's a sort of leadership. Whether it is or it is, I don't know. But I know that my mentality certainly didn't change on a day-to-day basis. I'd like to think that the majority would say the same. It's just something that, unfortunately, I can't pinpoint. But it's something that we certainly need to improve going into next year, because if you want to win any league title, then you need to be consistent for the full season.
Yeah, definitely. Lastly here, I think myself is personally disappointed that, obviously, like yourself, you're not going to get the send-off the last game of the season, the lap honour kind of thing, the sort of farewell. That's something doesn't really sit right with you. Like, maybe get a chance to come back, half-time draw or something like that. Is that maybe something you'd be hoping to do?
I mean, the biggest thing is, for me, is I still feel like I'm leaving the club the way I want to, in terms of leaving in good terms with everyone at the football club. I mean, my relationship with not only the fans, but the players, but the people within the football club, the kitchen staff, Disco, the masseuse, Jimmy, the kit man, Katie, player liaison. Like, my relationship with people within that football club, I'll remember forever. They're people that I love working with on a day-to-day basis. So I have absolutely no bitterness whatsoever towards the football club when I'm leaving. Like you said, it's probably the biggest disappointment is, I pulled on the jersey for the last time when I never knew, I never got the chance to say a proper farewell and give my thanks to the fans the way I'd like to, which is, to be fair, why I'm more than happy to come on and do these podcasts and give my thank you to the fans that way, because their adoration for me throughout the 5 years is something that will live with me forever. And I'd like to give thanks to everybody for that. But now it's just a case of me being a supporter again, and just wishing the next group of boys all the best. And like I said, I've no doubt whatsoever that we've got the right people at the club just now to take the club forward and get us back to hopefully winning that league title next year.
Yeah, hopefully you're right. Thanks very much for taking the time to answer them. And Stevie, thanks for giving me the platform to ask me.
No problem at all.
No, I think that certainly kind of wraps it up in terms of what we wanted to ask. Andy, I just wanted to say something without kind of blowing smoke up your arse or whatever else. But personally, I think that what you achieved with us in terms of the mental strength you showed, I was there at Parkhead when we got beat 5-0 and they won the league, and I seen the effect on you, I seen everything, and the mental strength you showed to come back. And we might not have been able to lift silverware, but there's redemption in there as far as I'm concerned, because you came back, you nailed it. I wish you'd had the dream send-off, but I'm looking forward to seeing you back in the stand. You've been brilliant with us. You've came on today. You've helped us raise thousands of pounds before for Rangers charity and that. So I just want to wish you best luck. I'm sure Chris and Billy are the same for the future, mate. And thank you very much for your time. No,
thanks a lot. Thanks for inviting me on and giving myself obviously the chance to say thank you to everyone through my time at the club. And I unfortunately I didn't get the chance, like you said, to win it at Rangers, but I'll be the happiest person going when they do manage to win it.
So a huge thank you to Andy Halliday for joining us. I certainly enjoyed listening to his favourite games and his team. Chris, we look back at Andy Halliday's time at the club. I said it and I don't make any apologies. I think he got redemption. I think he came back really strong, and being one of our own, I was really kind of proud of that, and he certainly made a contribution. What do you kind of think of Andy Halliday at his time, and what will you look back on?
Like, if you look back over the last few seasons, there's probably not been MD in the club that's gone through as much as Andy. Now, he was talking about the highs of the Celtic game to then the low, the Hibs game, getting promotion, and then also how that first season went. He then finds himself completely out the pitch under Pedro, comes back under Steven Gerrard, experiences big European nights and Old Firm wins. It's been quite a roller coaster. It is a shame that he didn't get the send off he deserved, and the send off everybody wanted for him. Over the last 5 years, I think he's obviously given everything to the club, given everything to the jersey. And from a personal point of view, dealing with him, he was always one of the good guys to speak to. Always somebody that was really good in terms of interviewing. He would come and speak to you no matter what the circumstance was, and for that you can't ask anymore. You appreciate guys that are open and honest with you. So I think you can certainly he can certainly look back at his time having handled himself superbly on and off the park, and I certainly wish him all the best for what the next chapter of his career holds.
Yeah, definitely. I think Andy will be one of these guys that no matter where he goes, you'll see the Rangers support kind of adopt his team and follow him and do that. Billy, Andy, obviously a big favourite of yours. How did you enjoy speaking to him, and what do you take away from Andy's time at the club?
That was a great experience. As I say, thanks again for having us on. But I think it's regret, I would say, for him not being able to lift silverware would be one. But I think realistically, the first couple of seasons that was probably never going to happen. So we can't really take too much away from that. And then, as you say, the lows getting taken off just before half time, and the game against Celtic at Hampden was obviously a horrible moment for not just him, but a lot of the crowd obviously as well. So he's come back for that bounce back, and that just shows strength of character that he's got to come back, and especially the way he did under Gerrard and playing the European games and the performances that he managed to put in. Just ended in a bad way, obviously, with the coronavirus. Can't really be helped, but I'm sure, as you say, he'll be welcomed everywhere he goes, and he'll not be short of personal appearances at pubs or functions and stuff like that. So he'll get his send-off everywhere he goes, I would imagine. So I think it'll be interesting to see where he goes next. I doubt whether he'll want to play in Scotland again, but hopefully maybe get a move abroad or maybe down south again, who knows. But it'll be interesting to see either way.
I certainly enjoyed speaking to Andy. I've enjoyed having both yourself, Billy and Chris on. Thanks, boys, for joining us.
Not a problem, mate. Thanks very much again.
No problem at all, Stevie. Good to get back into it again.
Yeah, definitely. So as we round up the podcast, for ourselves, we've obviously started to curtail our podcast because during COVID we tried to do one every week, which successfully Chris and I we managed to do, not without challenges, Chris.
With a couple of fraud days, just to get people lined up. I always appreciate the guys giving up their spare time to come and speak to us and tell old stories and go back over old games. So I think hopefully we've managed to give the fans something to pass a bit of the boredom during lockdown. And I say we'll try and keep the monthly podcast back up and running. We'll get some more really interesting and some great guests on over the next couple of weeks and couple of months.
Yeah, definitely. For next month coming up, we have Nicky Law. We've already recorded that. Nicky was a great guest, really good listen, a really interesting listen as well. Somebody from maybe the different side of a kind of fan favourite kind of point of view. He was a bit of an enigma, and he tells a great story. And then we've got Bob Malcolm, who we recorded with. Bob was absolutely brilliant. He told some great stories. A massive Rangers man. Wears his heart in his sleeve. And again, that's a brilliant listen. We've got Peter Hoostra lined up as well, and a couple of other really exciting ones. And that's before the season. Obviously, the players are back playing and things, and we're hopeful to spend time with the club and maybe get a few interviews there as well. So, obviously, just before we go, it's a massive thank you to Stuart Franklin over at Gersnet. He's the one that will edit this and sort it all out and put it out for us and make it sound good. Also, a very good friend of mine. And has helped us immensely on the podcast. So, Stuart, thanks for your time. And also, thanks to our sponsors, KGM Printing, who just help us with funds to pay for this. And they are really great, big supporters of Rangers Youth Development as well, which we love. And our other sponsors as well. You've got Slicks and the Custom Kitchen guys, who, again, huge Rangers fans and have supported Rangers Youth Development, and we're non-profit, so these guys, everything they do goes back to the club, and that's what we try and do, so we hope you enjoy it. Thanks to everyone for listening. Please spread the word, tell everyone about 4LadsHadADream podcast. You can find us obviously on Twitter with the blog and things like that. You can find Chris Jack on Twitter also, and Chris will be back writing very soon. And until next time, thanks again for joining us. Ignore the nonsense, the irrelevant, and the noise.